All right, meanwhile, the Trump and Harris campaigns are battling over debate rules as the candidates head to key swing states this week.
Senior White House correspondent Peter Doocy joins us live from the White House. Hey, Peter.
And a familiar name that we can talk about this morning, Tulsi Gabbard. She had the sharpest lines of attack against then Senator Harris on the debate stages in 2020. She is now helping Donald Trump prepare for his debate with Harris behind the scenes, and she is officially joining his effort to beat her.
It's not about Democrats versus Republicans.
Right.
It's about having a president who stands for freedom, peace, and prosperity, which is Donald Trump, versus having a president in Kamala Harris who attacks our freedoms and censors us and uses political retaliation, who has pushed us to the brink of war, and who's created this economic hardship for Americans across the country.
The Harris campaign is showing their hand in terms of priorities, visiting just one battleground state this week, but for 2 days, Georgia. Trump has Wisconsin and Michigan and Pennsylvania ahead before the weekend, as a very unlikely celebrity is coming forward saying they hope Joe Biden does something that Trump did. Kim Kardashian has posted on X. Last week, I had the opportunity to visit the Department of Justice. She goes on to say, I hope President Biden takes the opportunity to make clemency a significant part of his legacy before he leaves office. Hashtag clemency now. President Biden has been joking before he went on vacation that he will campaign for or against Harris, whatever she thinks would help. It seems that the calculation, at least for now, has been made that he should just stay out of it. Back to you.
Which he's doing a good job at. And Peter, speaking of clemency, the conventional wisdom is Joe Biden will pardon his son, Hunter, after the election, right?
Well, that depends if you believe what Joe Biden and all of his top officials have said, which is that he will not, under any circumstances, pardon Hunter Biden.
I bet. Go ahead.
It's a big
He's
but.
only going to have the power of clemency and the pardon until January. So he definitely could. It's not like he's never done anything that he, contrary to what he's said. But it's possible, another thought about this, it is possible that he just has it worked out with Kamala Harris. Something like, I'll endorse you, but if something comes down when you're the president, I need you to let him go.
Yep.
Yeah, he's got to get convicted again. He's got some in September or not, get exonerated.
That case is bigger.
Peter. I bet that was part of the deal. I will step down if you endorse, I'll endorse you, Kamala. Kamala has to be the nominee, and Kamala, you have to promise me that you're going to pardon my son. Or if she doesn't win in November, then he'll pardon him before he steps down.
Remember, James Comer wraps up his investigation. He said, by the way, there's $27 million that flowed to the Biden family now that the Bidens are flowing right out of the White House. It is kind of amazing, before we get into this, how many Biden officials are now Kamala Harris officials, just like that. The same people telling us that Joe is fine, he's going to be great, we're going to win the re-election. Now it's like, I work for the other person, right? Is there anyone in the White House at all? Yeah. Do they even have someone to vacuum?
And he's on vacation again for the second week in a row.
Right.
What's interesting is
Our
that
country is running itself.
that circle of people around Joe Biden who've, right up until the debate, said, you know, go for it. You're the only person who can beat Trump. It's like, you're fantastic. You're great. Wow, we saw that show. Get out. We're going to work for her. Right. It was that quick.
They never acknowledge it. They just pop up representing somebody else.
Well, it works.
All right, let's talk about the thing that's most important to Americans, and that is the economy. And if you look at some of the stats about what means the most, the Fox News poll, the top issue of the day, in February, 37% of you said the economy. Now, 38% say it's not going away. And this is the key within the subset is inflation. It is lower than it was, obviously, when it was high in 2022, but it's still 3% above the prices are now 20% above where they were food prices when Joe Biden took over. Keep in mind with inflation, it's only going up 3% instead of 9%. Inflation might be going down, but the rate of the price of goods is still up.
Right, and when you look at that mountain right there, with that blue line right there, what happened at that point? That was when all that federal money was coming into the economy, and that's what caused the inflation to spike up over north of 9%. And who was the person who broke the tie in the Senate to make sure that the American Rescue Plan went through?
Yes.
She absolutely did. It was
Harris.
50-50. Kamala Harris said, okay, I'm going to pass that. Then she also broke the tie when it came to the 2022 and 2023 fiscal year spending budgets, which pumped more spending into the economy, causing the inflation that we're talking about. So she has got her fingerprints on inflation.
Well, it's interesting because Politico has a new piece that came out this morning. Can I just vote for her instead of Biden? And it talks about the Kamala Harris campaign trying to scramble to get the Hispanic vote. And they thought that she would be able to recover after Biden when it came to the border and all of that. Well, it comes to find out that the #1 issues for Latinos and Hispanic Americans is the economy.
Of course.
And she's struggling on that issue, and they're not rallying behind her. So whatever group you're talking about in the country, Black Americans, Hispanic Americans, white Americans, everyone is struggling right now, Ainsley.
Well, Axios is reporting that her campaign is now saying they might not have enough time to release her policies. The reason she doesn't want her policies released is because her campaign is saying she's flip-flopping on a lot of her past voting record, including no fracking. The list goes on and on of things that she wants to take away or did want to take away your health insurance plan. Now she's big on the border. She was never big on the border. You see the inflation rates. That was under the Biden-Harris administration. And now Trump is going after her for all these expensive items in the grocery store, how high gas prices are. She can't defend herself because she, over the past few years, has been touting Bidenomics. Look at Trump's latest campaign ad.
Everyday prices are too high. Food, rent, gas, back to school clothes. That is called Bidenomics.
Bidenomics.
And he goes on to say, you know, she's saying she's trying to divorce herself from it. They tie her to it. Now, Harris comes back, and she's talking about this is her version of how she's strong in the economy. Watch.
When I am elected president, I will make it a top priority to bring down costs. I will fight to give money back to working and middle-class Americans.
So
why hasn't she made it a top priority up until this point?
Exactly. And then if you look at the full ad, when she goes after Donald Trump, she doesn't have any of his words. She just puts photos of him in that ad. Right. Whereas in Donald Trump's ad, he highlights her words. That just shows you they have nothing to run against him when it comes to economy. They can steal his ideas, but they can't use his words and say, oh, okay, you know, he's going to get rid of Medicare and all that. They say that in the ad, but they have no quote or any video of him saying he's going to get rid of Medicare.
But here's what I want to hear. She says she's going to make everything more affordable. That's the theme, affordability. And in fact, that 1 minute everyday ad, they're going to start running in battleground states right now. $150 million ad buy. They raised $500 million in 5 weeks, so they got plenty of money to spend on that.
Plan?
But here's the thing. That's my point, Ainsley. She talks about how I'm going to make things more affordable, but she doesn't explain how. And if she would explain how, then people would go, okay, I think that's a good idea or a bad idea. But by keeping it broad and vague, then it's like, well, she said she was going to make things more affordable. I'm just going to trust her.
But once she says how, many people are going to say, why the delay? Why not start now then?
Only 29% of registered voters say that they're doing better than they were under Biden. 64%, that's 2 out of 3, say they are worse off. Independents strongly disagree, saying 20% said they are better off under Biden. Only 21%. 71% wish they had Trump economy back. That's independents. So that's obviously what Trump wants to be talking about now, and he's proud of what he did. The only thing that she has brought out is she brought out price controls that didn't go over well. She also brought out cracking down on gouging. That didn't go over well. Caging. Because, that's how she pronounces it. And also the other thing she brought up is on housing, which is an interesting approach. I am going to incentivize the building of 2 million homes.
I'm Steve Doocy.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhardt. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.